Let's stay with cricket now. Less than a week after Rohit Sharma announced his retirement, another Indian great has stepped away from the Test arena. Virat Kohli took to social media on Monday to tell his fans that they will no longer be seeing him don the whites for the game's longest format. Here's what he said. It's been 14 years since I first wore the baggy blue in Test cricket. Honestly, I never imagined the journey this format would take me on. It's tested me, shaped me, and taught me lessons I'll carry for life. There's something deeply personal about playing in whites, the quiet grind, the long days, the small moments that no one sees but that stay with you forever. As I step away from this format, it's not easy, but it feels right. I've given it everything I had, and it's given me back so much more than I could have hoped for. I'm walking away with a heart full of gratitude for the game, for the people I share the field with, and for every single person who made me feel seen along the way. I'll always look back at my Test career with a smile. 269 signing off. Fazir Mohammed joins us now to look back at King Kohli's phenomenal career that produced 9,230 runs, including 30 centuries. Faz, different kinds of reactions to his retirement. Some saying they aren't surprised, but a couple of former Test greats from India suggesting that it came as a bit of a shock to them.
And you can understand that, although I'm on the side of saying that the writing was on the wall. And knowing Virat Kohli to take such pride in his individual performances apart from being part of a successful Indian team, I think he would have recognized that he's got to struggle. We saw it in the 5 tests in Australia, despite that 100 in the first test match in Perth. They're working him out outside the off stump. Obviously, England are going to do the same thing if he were playing in the series starting in just over a month's time. And his numbers have declined significantly to the extent that his average, which was comfortably over 50, now finishes at 46 because he's averaged just over 30 in the last couple of years. So I think for someone who really takes tremendous pride in his own performance, he would have recognized the dimming of that once shining light. And I think he's made the right decision.
And the fact that it has come so quickly after Rohit Sharma's decision to do the same, any significance that you're reading there as well?
Not necessarily. Maybe there is. Maybe there's something in the background about a shake-up at the top because, again, we recall after that 3-1 series loss in Australia, the BCCI really came down with the hammer on even the senior players about wives and girlfriends being on tour and who has to play Ranji Trophy and cut out all of this arriving on your own in your fancy car and all of that sort of thing. So maybe that might have something to do with it, but that's just pure speculation. I think it's a recognition that his best days are behind him as a test match cricketer, and Virat Kohli, the person, doesn't seem to be the individual who will say, well, almost best is good enough. He has to be at his very best to be part of it.
Yeah, and he really did redefine the standards of, leadership, success, just the hunger in which he approached the game fast. And, as we talk about him stepping away from this format, can you share with us maybe your most memorable innings of Virat Kohli? Because he's had 30 test centuries, of course, those double centuries that he put up as well. Which was your favorite?
Well, none of them really stand out automatically for me. You know what stands out for me with Virat Kohli? When he got the Test 100 at Queen's Park Oval, 2023, end of July into August, when he got that 100, you listen to what he said at the end of the day's play, and he's always very articulate, very fluent, has a lot to say. And you recognize, and I don't know how many of our players, whether West Indian or otherwise, listen to individuals like Virat Kohli who talk about the extent that they go to diet, exercise, lifestyle, everything that goes with it. He had his problems early on in his career. He was expected to be a shining light from ball one. Didn't happen. He struggled in the Caribbean in his first series in 2011. He played his first test match ever at Sabina Park against the West Indies. Didn't get a lot of runs. But you listen to what he said less than 2 years ago, and you recognize that here was someone finally getting 100 after a lengthy dry spell, but he was so absorbed in doing all that was needed to be the best that he could be. And I think more than any innings he would have played, and there are many, T20 format, one-day format, test match format, he has 700s in Australia, which is a phenomenal effort given the quality of their bowling at this time. But I think more than anything else, it's the personal drive and what he is prepared to do to bring out the best in him that really impresses me about Virat Kohli.
Yeah, Faz, if you can in 1 minute, I want you to make a comment on Virat Kohli's place in the history of this wonderful game. And I'm asking that because of a few of the tributes that I saw. For example, Michael Vaughan, the ex-England captain, said, "In my time playing and broadcasting, no individual has done as much for Test cricket as Virat Kohli." And then I note the comment as well from Shubman Gill, the India batsman, his teammate. And Shubman Gill says, "You've not just inspired a generation, you've reshaped the mindset of millions."
Well, you've used up 55 seconds of my 1 minute. So I'll say that in essence, he really defined Test match cricket in the last few years because India were top of the tree and his persona, his aggression, his all-in attitude really defined it. Very different from a Sachin Tendulkar, for example, a Rahul Dravid, for example. So yes, I would say without question, this period, this time, this latest era of Test match cricket, he defined it. Whether he's the greatest of all time for India, I don't think so because there are a lot of significant names there, but that's for another discussion because you've used up all my time.
Yeah, and there's an on-field aggression from Virat Kohli that forced some people to liken his attitude to that of Viv Richards, who I know Virat Kohli has a lot of admiration for, Faz.
Absolutely, and I think that is the point, that the intensity, the way he played the game, the in-your-face sort of attitude, which is almost alien to the Indian way of doing things up until about maybe 20, 25 years ago, is really what has brought India forward as a cricketing nation, as a cricketing bullying nation almost off the field. But that's another story with the administrators. But yes, clearly he's so inspired by the manner of an Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards from a tiny island of Antigua Barbuda, that Virat Kohli saw that as the yardstick, not just in terms of the quality of the batsmanship and the aggression and the desire to dominate, but also in the very persona.
Thanks, Faz. Always great getting your views on these things, and I'm quite enjoying the anniversary World Cup success that I'm seeing in Wired 868.
Thank you very much indeed.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Well, on that note, it's time to talk some football. And organisers of the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League are assuring fans that it's all systems go for tonight's second leg quarterfinal matches at Sabina Park. The first leg matches were successfully executed at the Stadium East Field on Friday after issues with the floodlight system at Sabina forced their postponement on Thursday. And so as we look ahead to tonight, it will be Cavalier versus Portmore United in the opening encounter, which is locked at 1-1. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. local time, 7 ECT. Then, Montego Bay United will take a 2-1 lead in their tie against Tivoli Gardens. Kickoff in that one, 9 p.m. local time, 10 ECT. Well, our football analyst, Leger Williams, is at the venue, and as usual, he's building the excitement.
We're back at Sabina Park for the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League playoffs. It's quarterfinals, it's leg 2, and personally I can't wait. It's so exciting, and if we're judging off the first legs at Stadium East, I know that it's going to be another scorcher. And which games am I speaking about specifically? Let's see them right now. It's Cavalier, the reigning champions, taking on Portmore United. That will be taking place 6 p.m. Jamaica time, 7 p.m. in the Eastern Caribbean. And then, of course, we have another one at 9 p.m. Jamaica time, 10 p.m. ECT. Some deep Monday night football is Montego Bay United taking on Tivoli Gardens. That one will be taking place on SportsMax 2 and SportsMax Plus. And as I said, if we were to base it off what would have happened in the first legs, I know that we'll be looking forward to some great matchups. And in those first legs, we saw Montego Bay defeat Tivoli by 2-1 in a really heated contest. especially in that second half. And of course, the winner of that contest will go on to face Mount Pleasant in the first leg in Montego Bay on Thursday. And on the other side of the bracket, it was a 1-1 draw between Portmore and Cavalier, and that winner will go on to face Arnett Gardens, also in Montego Bay in the first leg on Thursday. So there's so much happening, and there was so much happening a week ago as well, or less than a week ago, here at Sabina Park. You see me in some sweltering sunshine. That's how the game started. But eventually, it had to get dark, and the stadium wasn't lighted enough, I would say. It did get dark as well, causing the game to stop. And it was very unfortunate, the incident at the time. But it was rectified quickly, I think. Well, not quickly on the day or in the night, but the next day, the games got to continue. One game got to continue, and then the other game got to be played at Stadium East. So despite there being a lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment on the game not being played on Thursday here at Sabina Park, it eventually got to be finished. And a game that got to be finished, of course, was Cavalier versus Portmore. And in that 1-1 draw, it was very tense. Both coaches, I think, have carried over that tense feeling. And we spoke to both of them, Rudolph Speed for Cavalier and Rudolph Austin for Portmore United, and got their thoughts for this contest.
That's what we're going to set out to do. I mean, it's not going to be easy because Portmore is a good team, but we need some more of the control, and I think we set up today to better manage that scenario.
I know you're a very tactically astute mind, so you saw the system that Portmore came with, not using an out-and-out striker, dovetailing their attacking midfielders. What was the adjustment that you would have had to make for that?
Right, and I don't think they'll come back with that system today, but they did it very well, dropping back those midfielders and allowing the wingers to become the strikers. So that's what they have done. So we are aware of it, but I think today we're going to try and not to think about them, but try to stamp our own dominance and let them deal with it instead of us chasing them. I think today we're going to try and let them chase us.
It's a final for we just have to make it into a final, go out there and give it our best. We know what our plans are, and we just have to go out there and execute them.
And during training, we noticed that there were a couple of changes to your lineup, especially in midfield. What did you see in training that led you to make those changes?
Oh, sometimes you have to manage the players. It's 2 games. Sometimes people have better form than others, and it's just all about that.
And tactically speaking, you employed a high press from the first leg, but Cavalier attempted to slow the game down in the second half. Maybe a little bit of energy was taken out of your team. How do you plan to combat that?
Well, in reality, in football, you can't press for 90 minutes. That's just the reality. So, you have to play in mixture.
Both coaches are battle ready. They're battle tested. They're ready to see if either of them can go on to the semi-finals of the Royal Navy Jamaica Premier League. I can't wait for this matchup. I know you can't wait for the matchup either. Zone team, I also know you cannot wait. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, definitely cannot wait, Leger. And, we're wishing you and the entire SportsMax team a good broadcast. We'll be tuning in as well. And, of course, thank you so much for that wrap up there. We're up on a break, and when we come back, it's interactive time.